Okay, so we'll just go to here. So welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining in to learn a little bit more about this incredible software system. It's actually called the AOScan Mobile, but today I'm just going to be demonstrating and sharing with you some information about just one or two parts of this incredibly robust energy healing system. We're going to be focused today on the one that's called, you'll see it right here in the center, the inner voice. And we're going to be doing that one specifically because that's really where everything starts. So again, thanks for joining me. You know, we're going to just set the stage to understand what's actually happening with the scan when we do the inner voice. And that all begins with that understanding of, like Tesla said, if you want to understand the secrets of the universe, you want to think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Boy, was he right about that. And just to second all that by one of our favorite doctors here, Dr. Albert Einstein, which said the future of medicine is the medicine of frequencies, because of course Einstein was all about energy and understood that everything is energy. And I just wanted to share one more pioneer in the energy healing field. You can never leave out Dr. Royal Rife. And in 1934, he actually helped 16 different cancer patients become cancer-free using what he called his beam ray technology, which was simply frequencies. And he was so successful that he was shut down and jailed. And that just shows you how powerful using frequencies to heal our body can be. Now, we typically think of frequencies when we're talking about like Rife healing as being something more solid, like, okay, we know that everything has a frequency. And we tend to think in things that we can see, don't we? So like we know that our body has a frequency, our organs have a frequency, the desk has a frequency, right? Everything has one. But also understanding that our emotions have a frequency, our thoughts, our beliefs, all this has a frequency, and it's all running through our bodies and out into our body fields. And that's something when we become aware of that, it's breathtaking. But once we know, then we can use it in a way that can serve us, serve both ourselves and society and the world on the whole, when we learn how to use those frequencies. So I wanted to just share a really powerful resource with you. It's a book that was published years ago by Carol Truman, and it was called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And it's a tremendous book. I highly recommend getting it. And the whole premise of the book is that any unresolved trauma, fear, negative emotion, and high stress levels are constantly vibrating throughout our body. And they're running the show. Right? So that when we know that either we have chronic illness, we'll talk about that, just unhappiness, just things in our life just don't ever seem to go our way. It really comes down to what is resonating in our bodies, what of our old traumas, fears, etc. And she just does a beautiful job in showing you how to get really connected with what those are, and then how to use, she has her own process of releasing those. And what part of her process is finding out where in the body these vibrations are and what they're affecting. So keep that in mind, because what you're going to see is the inner voice will actually make that a whole process that you don't even have to do anymore. The system's going to do it for you. But it's still a fabulous book, and I think you'll find it so effective. As a matter of fact, there's actually 760 emotions that she kind of puts out and shows you kind of what's happening in the body with it. So it's a tremendous resource. Chinese medicine has known this for millennia, however long it's been dealing with it. And they know that our specific emotions affect specific organs, etc. And so I was just kind of showing you one of these with the 5 the different 5 elements, for example, with the heart, right? So we know, positive emotions really affect the heart, love, joy, happiness, but negative emotions also affect the heart. So, when we've talked about, oh, somebody died of a broken heart. Well, that might be a cliche, but there's a ton of truth to that. So just seeing how our emotions are not only just our mood and how we're experiencing life from a happiness standpoint, but it absolutely affects all parts of our body. And just taking that one step further and talking about some of the discoveries of Dr. Masaru Emoto. Most of us have heard of Emoto, did a lot of testing with water, because we know that water really transmits and holds frequency. And let's face it, our bodies are about 60% fluid. So when you think about that, if we have vibrations that are not serving us, maybe negative, we're talking negatively to ourselves or to others, etc. What's that actually doing to ourselves? So when he took the water and played the music, beautiful music, or said beautiful things, and then he was able to freeze and look at the crystals, we know that there's just beautiful structures there, right? It looks gorgeous. But when you said something like, "You fool," even just speaking those words, whether it's out to other people or you're saying it inside to yourself, creates chaos in the system. "You make me sick." Look at that. It's just like a toxic mess. Evil has a really, you just look at that and you can feel the evil in there. And that's what's actually happening in our bodies. He also did a really brilliant experiment where there was a polluted lake. I don't remember where it was. I think it was in New York. So something happened and it was very polluted. And when he took the crystals from there, it looked like this. And then he gathered lots of people around the lake, and people would just send prayers, healing and cleansing prayers into the water. And look at what happened when he did it after that. It shows. So just showing that emotions, thoughts, beliefs, all these things have energy and frequency, and they affect us at all different levels of our bodies. So if you are someone who is suffering or challenged with any kind of physical condition, especially chronic kinds of conditions, things that you have and they last and they last. And, what do we tend to do, especially in our Western world, right? We go to the doctor or to a healthcare professional because we want to work at the symptom level. That's typically what we do. Oh, we don't feel good. We have an ache or pain. We go to a doctor. They say, "You have a this." Right? And then we claim that dis-ease by speaking it out there. And then we're trying to use all these medicines, etc., working out its symptom level. But you know what? What we now know is if we're going to heal physical symptoms, long-term and lasting, not just put a Band-Aid on them, but truly heal, we've got to find the root of the situation. And we like to say the root of the root and the root. So if you look at this tree, I borrowed this tree from the Institute of Functional Medicine, which I thought was really interesting because they understand that here's a quote diagnosis, but what's really causing it? So we go from the top of the tree down, and they started to put in their organizing systems and clinical imbalances, right? But then they went down further in the root to find the antecedents, or what came before those things. What were the triggers and the mediators? And at the root of the root, we get mental, emotional, and spiritual influences. Yes, genetic predispositions, we do come in with those. Attitudes, experiences, and beliefs. So you can see we've got to get to the root of the root of the root. And what are those things? Sleep and relaxation, exercise, stress and resilience, relationships. How many people do you know that might be in really toxic relationships and they constantly have chronic illness and they're going to doctor to doctor to doctor and they just can't seem to get any kind of lasting relief because they're there constantly with that toxic relationship always resonating in the background. So that's the kind of a basis to what we're going to see now. The AOScan technology is actually based on our proven belief. This is a proven belief now, as you can see, that everything at its most fundamental level is energy, it's frequency, and every cell of the body produces energy, frequency, vibration, and resonance. And when the frequencies are in balance, the quality of life is optimized. And I had to include my friend, this beautiful dog here, looking all happy with his AOScan headset on, listening to his music, because this is wonderful for people and pets. So the part of the scan we're going to look at today is called the inner voice. And I love just the name of this. It's what's going on inside. What's the voice? What are you saying to yourself day in and day out, whether you realize it or not? So I'm going to demonstrate the inner voice so you can see it, but just understanding what's happening with this. The actual software system is going to isolate and analyze 2,000 frequencies. That's what's coming out of your voice, over 2,000 frequencies. It's going to be across a 12-note octave in your vocal tone, your pitch, and your pattern. And it identifies the emotional imbalances and then creates harmonizing music that works to balance your emotional state. It uses tones, radionics, and other frequencies. It's absolutely amazing. So from here, I'm going to go right up to show you the system. So here it is. So when you log in, this is the system. And up here, I've already put myself in. So I'm going to do this on myself and run it. And then we're going to take a look at what is showing up in the system and how you can start to see patterns and see how what we're resonating at, what are trauma, stress, etc., how it's actually affecting us physically. All right, so you can see right down here is the inner voice. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and this is what the screen will look like. All right, so one thing to note here too is, you know, our voice is uses the technology of a lie detector test. And lie detector tests now are so accurate because when we speak, we cannot lie. Going through our vocal cords are all of these frequencies. And it doesn't matter what you say, and it doesn't even matter if you try to mask your voice, it's going to pick up these frequencies in audiences anyway. And I think that's just wild. All right, so I want to show you how super simple and easy the inner voice is to use. So I'm just going to click on this link, and what you're going to see is there's going to be a countdown to 4 seconds. And after the 4 seconds, I'm going to speak for 10 seconds. And what you're going to say, if you're doing it yourself, is, I am, and you say your name. When you speak and say, I am Renee McLaughlin, that is taking out into the universe who you are. And then we're just going to speak for another rest of the 10 seconds, and and you'll see it start to scan. Now, again, doesn't matter what I'm going to say, you just want to keep talking. So here we go. I am Renee McLaughlin, and I am really excited to be able to share this life-changing technology with you to show you how you can absolutely. So it stopped, and now you're going to hear it and see how it's scanning my whole body. It's scanning notes, it's scanning causes, and you can see it, and you're probably hearing a little bit of a weird sound. So if you do it on your own, you can turn the sound all the way down. The weird sound doesn't matter. You don't have to hear this. It's not part of it. But when you do this, you can, so you can see what's going on. So as this is working, you're going to notice that it's just showing all kinds of different things that's going to go in here. So while this is going on, and I know you're going to hear this, I'm going to ask my friend Carey, who has been using it. Oh, sorry, Carey, I'm going to pause for a sec, if you don't mind. Let's just go ahead and do the balancing harmonics or pull up the report on this, okay? So you guys, this is what the sounds are going to sound like. I'll do it again in a second, but just so you start to hear. So I'm going to pause that for a moment. And what you're seeing right here on this graph are the places in my voice that were overexpressed, okay? And those are kind of combined to emotions that might be overexpressing that need to be balanced. And then you'll see the lowest ones it picks up as well. And those are emotions that are being suppressed that I might not even be aware of. So the top 3 frequencies based on sound are my G sharp, the B, and the C sharp. And then the supportive frequencies are down here. Now also notice that there's colors in there, okay? So from here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the reports on it, okay? And you're going to notice up here that there is a little email thing. So I can email this to myself, or if I do it on someone else, I email that, and then you get a link so that you can look at all these and you have your balancing harmonics. So let's just take a look at this for a moment. The first part is going to talk about how it works. So if you're more interested in getting some more of the science of it, go ahead, you'll be able to listen to that or watch that. And also you're going to notice that there's also color therapy in this system, because we know that color also has frequency and also really affects our whole emotional and energy field. So along with this, the AO scan, you can get the colored lenses to also wear along with it. It's really powerful. All right, so here's the first one. They're going to see that there are 4 reports that come with each one, and each report represents one of those 4 notes that you found up there. So this one was the G sharp, and what it's saying is right now, for me, suppressed emotion versus self-expression. And it will share with you the positive emotions that go along with that, along with negative. The supportive note, or the note that will help me balance that out, is D. I could wear some orange glasses. And orange supports warmth, enthusiasm, etc. So again, just bringing it all around to really help relax and balance out what's going on right now. So let's take a look at the emotions that showed up here. Depression, frustration, lack of confidence. Amazing that knows those 3. And a lot of times, don't you find that when you're having a stressful day or something's going on and you're being triggered, it's like, if you even stop for a moment and you go inside, it's like, okay, well, what exactly is bothering me? Can I even get a sense of that? And sometimes you can, and sometimes I can't. It's just like, it's just so general. But I also want you to look at the picture, because what it's showing is, for me, with right now, with those things that are happening, it's affecting this area of my body. Pretty fascinating, right? So it's going to show you that in the picture. So when I do this for people, I say, take a look at the emotions and take a look at the imbalances and suggestions. Because I love this. It can really help you get clear. Yes, you want to listen to your tones, but there can be some other supportive things that we can do. And you can look at what constantly shows up. So you can put together your own lifestyle change to really help support your body. So for me, you saw that digestion was being affected with this. And suggestion is to take some pre and probiotics. Great, I do that. Use mid-meal hydrochloric acid. Interesting, I haven't been doing that. Consider chiropractic adjustments. And you're going to find that chiropractic adjustments show up here a lot, because the spine is what? It's our central nervous system. So it's really important to have good spinal health. Large intestine, we saw that's where it's affecting me. So what can I do to improve digestion? Increase hydration. Again, taking the pre and probiotics. And it's also affecting my reproductive system for female. Reduce stress, increase trace minerals, because with stress, we know when we're getting stressed with the adrenals, burn out a lot of trace minerals. And again, consider chiropractic adjustments. So just from that one, look at how much information you get. So let's go down to the second one. This one was a corresponding note of B, and it's conflicting beliefs versus congruent beliefs. Yes, I can say that's probably very true. Look at what this note is affecting, okay? All these different parts. Green, lime green, supporting joy and enthusiasm. So what are the emotions? demanding, emotional exertion, and fear that something bad will happen. And I have to tell you, complete transparency, because let's face it, we all have all of these. Okay. So, but I'm like, yeah, I can see that would be very in my face right now. So I can't wait to listen to these tones. And what are the imbalances? Well, the liver, like take pre-meal enzymes. I have been doing that. Consider a liver detox program. Again, chiropractic adjustments, digestion. You can see what's happening, eliminating food, take pre-meal, and nervous system. Consider acupuncture, get adequate exercise and acupuncture treatment. So you can see, I think I'll be taking myself off to my great, chiropractic adjustments to my chiropractor on Monday. C, repetitive thinking versus creative thinking. Now, look at this. It's affecting my musculoskeletal system, isn't it? So, wow. And what was that? Repetitive thinking. Now, how many of us have repetitive thinking? I'm going to say probably 99.99% of us, right? That habitual thinking that's always going on all the time. And it's really good to be able to become aware of it and to be able to now have some creativity and shift how I'm thinking, emotions, fear, hardness, and how about some mental fatigue? Yes, getting ready for this presentation, I probably do have some mental fatigue. And again, you're going to see spine, okay, improve posture. Here's those trace minerals one more time. Kidneys, digestive enzymes again, another for chiropractic. But isn't it interesting that with that, it's affecting the muscles of the neck, shoulders, and arms. Stretch and exercise regularly. Well, yeah, no problem there. I will be doing that. But notice how it's affecting so many different parts of the body. Or how about angry versus accepting of change? Okay, woo, up into the brain. Can you see it's the lymph system along with digestive system? What do we got? Grief. Yes, I'm going through some of that. Betrayal, nervous exhaustion. Got a lot of stuff going on now in my personal life. So all this just dead on for me. Pancreas, limit alcohol, drink plenty. So you can see that it gives you some great, great information. So it's not only listening to the tones, but you're going to get basically such good information that you can listen to. Now I'm going to go back up here again to the tones, showing the balancing things. I won't go ahead and do that. But one other thing to note is when you do it and you listen to your tones, it's really important that you put on headset and listen to them, because part of this, there are some what's called binaural beats, where one side is slightly different from the other, and you listen to them, preferably like first thing in the morning before you go to bed, midday. If you have the system yourself and you're running it, something really happens to kind of throw you off, immediately go, you see how fast it is, 10 seconds, you say, I am your name, you say what's going on, stop and listen. And it's amazing how you can do a reset, stop all those emotions from now somatizing and sticking in the body, creating more and more issues down the line. Go ahead and balance it right then and allow your body to reset so that you can go back on again. So even challenging situations aren't going to cause your health to go down when you're able to get them there, rebalance, and do a beautiful reset. So that you can see how simple and easy that is. So before I bring my friend Carey out, and I'm really excited to have her come out and share her experience, I do want to go, well, you know what, Carey, go ahead and start. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself and just talk a little bit about the inner voice and what you've noticed so far and what you've been doing when you've been using it.
Thanks, Renee. It's good to be here. And I really love your enthusiasm for this and how elegant and simple this is, and that I can even do it myself. But I've been doing this about a month, I believe. And I have noticed that I have had severe digestive issues since I call it the damdemic, but since the pandemic started, it threw me into a trauma state of being a young child trapped because I was somewhat trapped, as we all were during the pandemic. And it truly activated my vagus nerve, which meant I had really horrible issues with gut pain, digestion, constipation. Hate to admit that, but yeah, all those things, bloating, and my food sensitivities were off the chart. There was really literally not very much I could eat. And I went to several different gastroenterologists and was diagnosed from a distance as having pancreatic insufficiency, and was taking like $6,000 worth of digestive enzymes a month for a while there, and nothing helped. I mean, from antacids to the digestive enzymes to coffee enemas to, I mean, I kid you not. And I had been doing acupuncture, but of course we had to halt that, and because everything was shut down. So I just really, really, really suffered for a long time. And my chiropractor has really helped me probably more than just about anybody, because he's released the energy flow. Undigested trauma clogs everything, and the energy flow to my pancreas, my liver, and my gallbladder were at issue here. So I started doing this a month ago. And of course, getting the daily reminders to increase your hydration. And I do have the iTerra wand, which, gosh, that was a game changer as well. When I went to see the chiropractor, we hadn't seen each other in about a year. And the last time he saw me, I was in a lot of pain with my shoulders, my stomach, my back. And I go breezing in, and he says, "What is going on with you? I said, I can't begin to tell you how grateful I am. I've been using this iTerra Care wand, and I thought it was kind of a toy in the beginning until I started feeling better. And now I have been using this AO scan that actually gets to the root cause of my symptoms. And he was amazed. He was just amazed. So we're going to visit with him in a few weeks. And I'm excited about that, because I think the possibilities for people who have had severe chronic pain, and I have studied trauma for many years and have read countless books on issues caused by childhood trauma, and the increased likelihood of chronic back pain and cancer and mental illness and behavioral issues and depression and addiction and broken relationships and unemployability, and even being a victim or a perpetrator of a violent crime and incarceration go up with every trauma that a child experiences. This is absolute science. It exists, following a study by the CDC and Kaiser Permanente called the Adverse Childhood Experience Study of 1998. But at any rate, I'm amazed at how much better I'm doing after having done these scans for a month. Renee, I went out to dinner with friends 3 nights ago, and I had curry. I haven't had curry without being just in agony. And it tells me daily, because I get a more comprehensive scan. It gives me my food sensitivities, and so it kind of gives me a little protocol for what to eat. We know that if we eat the same things over and over again, our body builds up a reaction to them, and so it is uncanny to me that it shows me on days after I've eaten papaya for 3 days in a row, I'm going to be sensitive to papaya. Vary your diet, vary your diet. But then the other things that I've always had sensitivities to, dairy, wheat, nightshade vegetables, boom, they showed up instantly. And the areas of my body in which I have issues showed up instantly. How does this do this with my voice and the frequencies that my body is giving out? I will tell you, I've done neurofeedback, which deals with the frequencies in the brain to help the brain harmonize and optimize what I'm able to do in my work, which is a lot of writing and a lot of deep thought and communication. And I've done neurofeedback for 5 years. To me, this is such a great, it'll help take the place of it when I can't get to neurofeedback for 2 to 3 weeks because of travel or whatever. But sleep, I have issues with sleep, and a very dear friend of mine has issues with sleep. And we both started using this and sleeping through the night with one of the sleep protocols that is in the SEFI. And I know we're going to talk about the SEFI in a few minutes. But anyway, the bottom line is, yes, I have noticed a major difference. I had some pretty wicked childhood trauma, and I'm in my 60s, and it has affected my health all my life. And I'm seeing some big changes, and I wake up joyful. I mean, I've worked on it all my life with all manner of different programs and whatnot. However, getting at the root of, at the cellular level, down deep in my body to digest and release this trauma, I mean, I'm just amazed. And I really want to tell the world how grateful I am. Thank you for introducing it to me, Renee.
Oh, Carey, that's just, it's just breathtaking. And again, I'm so glad that you took the chance, that you tried it, and you're here and sharing it, because you have studied so much. You teach it. It is your life. And so
I wrote a book about it, for crying out loud.
I know. And you've tried, and you've done, not tried, you've done so much, and so many things brought you to here. But what's so beautiful about this is that, I mean, how easy is this? We can now use this cutting edge, sophisticated energy technology to put on a set of headset, listen to this beautiful music, and get these kinds of results. Like, we don't have to suffer and go through long, arduous process to clear ourselves. This does it for us, essentially. And it's just so powerful. So I do want to, Carey was mentioning some of these other things that we can do. And so one of the other ones I just want to do, I'm not going to do a whole lot on here, but just to show you some other things that are really fun. You might have noticed that when I did it, we did the inner voice. And from the inner voice, we can do additional scans to get more information. So Carey was talking about food sensitivities, and that goes over with this one part of the scanner called vitals. So there is so much more information that I could run here, but it would take us too long. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the scan on this for just food sensitivities to show you balancing of chakras and meridians. But just know, with this, each day after you run your inner voice, you can see how fast it is when you don't run the whole thing. That was just scanning. Now I'm going to optimize or send balancing harmonics to all those things that might have been out of balance. And this is just going to show different things that are going on in the body. All right, so I'm going to show this report. And this, again, is just based on my voice that I just did. Now, before I show you this, what I do want you to see is these reports are based on this, on a scale. So we call right here optimal and balanced from 4 and 6, 5 is right there. And this is based on what we would call like blueprint frequencies. So there are frequencies for, if the frequency for each of these things was perfectly balanced, we would be right here. But as we go down in number and color to the red, it's diminishing function. So it's lessening a function of whatever it is we're looking for. And as we go up, it's increasing in inflammation risk. Now, it's really, really, really important to understand that with these reports, they are not diagnostic. We are not diagnosing a thing, and we're really truly not. That's not just so that we stay out of legal trouble. It's not diagnosing. Frequencies are moving constantly, constantly, constantly all over the place, all the time. This is capturing where it is at that moment and giving you a scale. If you do it again, as Carey say, you do it again tomorrow, it's going to be something different. So just understand that this is just showing where these sensitivities are at this moment. It does not mean that you're allergic to the food. Stay away from it forever. It's just giving you information. And when you do them consistently, you start to see patterns. So it's educational, not diagnostic. All right. So as we're looking at this one again, this is for me today, you're going to see over here, it says previous scan. All that means is that this was when it did the assessment. Okay, before we then optimized and tried to, it sent gentle balancing frequencies. So this is where it is now. So what we like to look at is, where was it off before? So for this one, it was cheddar cheese. Okay, it was a 9. Gave balancing harmonics, it came back into range. So what I like to usually look at is where there's something is really off on both out of range previous and stays out of range on current. That means it's a little bit resistant. And then I probably would try to avoid that for today. All right, so what would be out of balance for both of them? Processed cheese is a 9. Well, thank goodness I've never eaten it. I don't eat it, so no problem. So that could be something that somebody would say, hey, Renee, but you didn't eat processed cheese. Why did it show up? Well, remember, it's not diagnostic and it's not chemistry. It's frequency. So when it sent out the frequency, my brain recognized it and said, no, your body's not probably going to like that. So whether I've eaten it before or not doesn't always show up like that. It's just information. So I would know that. Now, what's out? Double there, no. Double here, no. Double there, no. No, so I'm pretty good here. Very interesting. I probably wouldn't eat banana today, but other than that, no problem. Grains, all right. 1 for brown rice. It kind of got down even further when we gave it, but other than that, I'm pretty good on that. Legumes, I'm good. Everything is balanced on that. How about meats? I'm good on that one. Beautiful. Now, something that I do want you to notice too is how many out of balances you have before optimizing and how many get harmonized, and you see how many now are much better in balance. So I love being able to do this. I do this one daily, just knowing that each day, anything that's out, I can harmonize and rebalance, at least to the extent the body's ready to. Look at that. For seafood, I have a lot out of balance today, but not a lot stayed out. Okay, I'm probably not going to have octopus or mackerel today, or salmon. And usually, salmon is considered a really healthy food. I do tend to eat salmon, but it's showing low functioning today. So I probably wouldn't have it tonight. Good. All my nuts are in balance. They weren't all when I started. Seeds, can you see how extensive this list of food is as well? Pretty much anything you're going to eat on a daily basis would show up here to give you information. Lots of spice, lots of spices in here because we use a lot of spice. And what's interesting is I know for me, peppermint typically shows up. Yes, it's a 1, but it balanced now. Again, just taking a look at vegetables, etc. So that's what all that is. Now let's take a look at chakras. It will even give you the chakras that are out of balance. And look at me. Some were out. So on my crown, I was at 9, but they all came back into balance. And the system will also give you information if something's out, what physical thing might be happening. And then we get into our meridian system. This was the other one that I did. So let's take a look at some doubles. Small intestine. Now, for those of you that have the wand that Carey was talking about, the IteraCare wand, many of you probably do. I use that daily as well. And so one of the things you can do is come in here, you can take a look at what might be out there and then use the wand as well to come in. So I think I'm looking here, I have low functioning on small intestine. So I would take out my wand as well and come in here and I might just wand around where the small intestine is. kidney came up. So it was borrowing some energy, some kidney, same thing on liver. So some interesting things. What was the one that was on small intestine? So I would go down here just to check out small intestine, and I could see some things that might be happening here. Nervous conditions, nervous disease, pain or tinnitus, food allergies, intestinal flora. And then look, see, it will have the emotional links, digesting life, dealing with emotional and mental demands, sadness, lack of joy, and that is what I'm going through today. So you can see how all this affects it. And I only pulled up those three things in the vitals. There's also complete blood work can show up there. You can get gastrointestinal, digestion, pancreas, inflammation markers will show up in there. You get bacteria, viruses, molds, just so much information that is available here. So from here, I'm going to come right back to here. Carey, anything that you'd like to share on your vitals? I think you did kind of talk a little bit about the food intolerances and how you use those. Anything else that you might want to mention before we just quickly talk about the SEFI?
I think you covered it really well. Knowing yesterday that I could eat goat cheese for the first time in a week, and I did, and it didn't burn.
Oh, man.
So
Sweet.
that was, I love good food. I'm a foodie, as you know. Renee and I've been friends for about 12 years, and she knows what a foodie I am. And to be able to eat some of the things that sometimes I could eat without consequence, but sometimes I would have really horrible pain.
Yeah.
And to know that I can enjoy them now, and I likely won't be, I call it the gnawing burn.
Yes.
That gnawing, gaping burn. What a relief. To
Yes.
get 3 or 4 days without a stomach ache is yay.
You've had it, right? But this gets to the root of the root of the root. And that's emotion, it's trauma, and it's also balancing and harmonizing everything, right? So it's starting at the root, but it's also working all the way up into everything.
Oh, I know the thing that I wanted to say is that the more I do it, the more resilient I seem to become. So it's almost like a rubber band that is, instead of aging, it is growing younger, because the more I do this, the more I can move more items off of the out and into the in.
Yes.
And they're not as drastic a shift as they used to be. When we first started doing this, remember, I had all kinds of 9s.
Yeah.
And now I may have like 10 9s, but I used to have like 15 or a lot. And
yeah.
So it's gotten better. So I like to think of it, as we call in another program, a resiliency zone. And like up here is popped out and down here is too low, but it's widening my resiliency zone. It's giving me more options.
Oh, that's beautiful. And I think that also goes to the fact too that, again, Western medicine, take a pill and put a Band-Aid on a symptom. We're kind of used to, okay, I'm going to do it once and now I should see something. And I notice when I listen to my tones, I definitely feel a shift. I'll be more relaxed. But where the real magic is consistency. The more you do it, the more you're training the body. For me, that's a beautiful way of maybe explaining, at least my mind, some resilience. It's training the body now to not overreact. Right? It's training the body, and that takes time and consistency. So while you might notice things right away, the real depth and the real magic is doing it consistently. And when isn't that true with any lifestyle change, right? You're not going to change your diet one day and expect yourself to lose 50 pounds or whatever that is. It's over time and over time. And to put this in as part of your lifestyle, continuing to do it, that's what really creates the great health at the end. So thank you for that. That's powerful.
Yeah. And the other quick thing is, because inflammation anywhere is inflammation everywhere. And inflammation is our true enemy, because that's what's causing the pain and the aging and weakening the immune system. The fact that this is lowering or widening rather that threshold of what we tolerate, the likelihood that we're going to evoke a cytokine storm of,
Yes.
of inflammatory hormones in our bodies. I mean, who knows? It would be great to do a spit test for cortisol and see with this. That would be fun. But not being as reactive, we can tell it with our emotions that we're not as snippy, but what's going on inside our bodies to reduce that inflammatory response,
So powerful.
huge
Yeah.
on not having chronic pain and aging ourselves.
Beautiful. And again, the system shows with the reports and also continues to use it to harmonize. So yeah, so important. Love that. And for those of you that have the wand, I just want to make one more comment about that. And that is, this is not an instead of. This is in as well as, right? The wand does what it does, which is incredible, reduces inflammation as well. But when you add this on, it's just, they're so synergistic. They work beautifully and perfectly together. Not that you have to do that, but just saying if you do, I'm not saying, oh, don't do this or only do that. It's all together. It's synergistic. It's integrative. And it's the same even with Western medicine. There is a place for that. We can integrate. It's not an all or nothing. Integrate this into it so that we get the best of all worlds. So thanks for that, Care. The last one part of the system that I just want to show because it's also super valuable, and I can do another Zoom just with this because if all you do is this, it's powerful. And that is, we call it the SEFI. It's called the SEFI, which stands for Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter. And so the imprint is so powerful. And what this does is you'll see that there's an erase. I'm going to click on here just so that you can see what that's going to look like. Is it going to show up here? Start. There you go. So what you can do is we're going to have, they have all kinds of different frequencies, and these are ones that you can choose and you can scan and see what your body wants. You can then take those frequencies and either imprint them. You can imprint them into water. You can imprint them into jewelry. You can imprint them in anything that's going to hold frequency and put them on your body. You can also broadcast them to yourself or to whoever is up here in this profile. So you can have unlimited people that you use up there. You can do it just for 2 minutes. You can do it forever. There's so much to do. The erase that I just showed you is, let's say that you want to have some frequencies that you're going to put in some water and drink them, or some sugar pellets if you're used to doing homeopathics. You set the erase first so that you erase any energies that have been stuck to it to start. And then you can do the imprint. So I'm just going to show you 1 or 2 of these just to give you an example of this. These are just specific affirmations, and you can select them and see what it is that you might want. There's just so many in here. So for example, maybe energetic shield. I'm just going to put this one up here. And if you do, you can see down here that you can imprint that into something. 2 minutes or continuous. So if I just click, let's just say imprint, you can hear the sound. I would have put something right on that and imprinted it. When it's done, it stops. And then let's say you drink it or put it on. But you can also scan, and the system will tell you what your body would like in this moment to help balance it. I'm needing a little immune support. I'll have to remember that and come back and do that. So for the immune support, now that I've scanned it, I might just do a 2-minute broadcast. Same thing, I'm broadcasting those set of frequencies directly into my body just to help me support. So there's just so much here. I know we're getting late in time, but can always redo this. But the one that I did want to show you is that you can also create custom playlists for yourself and do this. And I know that Carey created one that she loves. She did it herself, and you can see it pulls it all up here, and all the different things that she put in it, like abundance, wealth, and success, concentration, creativity, inner peace. We've got perfect recall, energy boost. You can see these are just beautiful, super memory, just so many beautiful frequencies. And again, when she's working, or I'll let Carey tell you what she does. Now that I have this one, as I go working, what I would do is I just put it right on continuous broadcast. Now, you might also notice that there's individual and simultaneous. And what this means is when you go to broadcast, you can either broadcast them individually, where it goes from creativity, focus, and it just starts to do it individually, or it can do simultaneous, where it's going to send all of them at one time. How do you know which one to do? Well, if you're experienced in muscle testing, you can also always muscle test, see what your body wants, and do it that way. If not, just pick it. I like to do individual, just so I'm not sending too much all at one time, but just something else to do. Carey, do you want to kind of share your experience with the SEFIs and the playlists?
Sure. I mean, well, before I got the system, which let me just say, the beauty is you don't have to buy any equipment. I do everything on my iPhone, for crying out loud. But that I've bought the monthly membership. I guess it's a membership. I asked Renee, would you run these things on me? Sometimes I'd call her and I'd say, oh my God, I'm so constipated, I can't stand it. And she would run this on me. And I'm in North Carolina, she's in Georgia, and I would get relief, which was just wild. And then she sent me the little SEFI dots that you energize and put on your body with an adhesive. And that was a game changer. But I think one thing that I know about life and humanity is that to give people voice and choice is massive. And for me to be able to hold this in my hand and have a choice about changing how I feel by getting to the root cause. I haven't had alcohol in almost 25 years. I'm not taking a pill. Now, do I eat chocolate sometimes to change how I feel? Oh yes, dark chocolate. The older the woman, the darker the chocolate, and the more it hurts my tummy sometimes. But we look for, I have a friend who just had the book published, and it's called, it's not the alcohol, food, or drugs, it's the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's the complex emotions that our bodies hold that send us to the addictive substances and behaviors, be they food, alcohol, sex, drugs, gossip, addictive exercise, work addiction, what I call toxic intensity. But the fact that with this, I have voice and choice, and I can choose a list. Now, some people might say, is anything really happening? Well, yeah, I think something's really happening. But even if it's not, the fact that I have chosen to take action for myself, before there's commitment, there's not anything. The commitment to ourselves and choosing to take action on my own behalf starts a shift in energy.
Beautiful.
So sends a message to my inner child, myself. I am taking care of myself. I'm large and in charge. And
said.
Force behind me and a partner in my health, which Renee, you've been a great partner to my health for 12 years. I cannot thank you enough. So
thank you. I love that, you guys. She's just amazing she's a beautiful wordsmith, and just, but shares from the heart. That is who she is and how she's doing it. And I think that's so true about all of that. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. So at this point, I think you guys get the picture of what it is. It is powerful. There's so much to it. And so I'd like to just give you a couple of choices if you would like to experience it yourself. So I should have pulled this all the way up. So we have two choices right now. Our team has put together what we call a 21-day inner voice challenge, where you can do the inner voice, speaking I am with your name, and then receiving the balancing harmonics along with the reports every day for 20 days. So you're going to take a challenge. You'll listen to your harmonics, etc., for 21 days and find out exactly how does it shift you. Okay, you're needing more peace. We're going to talk about just finding your Zen. for 12 minutes, because aren't we always told, oh, you really should meditate, you should go inside, you should be still. For some of us, we love it, but for most of us, it's like, I don't even have 12 minutes. Well, just put them on and do something. It's okay. It's still the quick.
Renee, one quick question. I've been using mine with my earbuds, not Bluetooth earbuds, but my, the ones with the cord. That's okay. You don't have to have a full-blown headset.
No,
right? Okay,
correct.
right.
Exactly. No.
Just checking.
Yeah, no, you don't have to. You just need to have one on one side and one on the other, for sure. So you're getting the custom frequency music. And there was someone that did this before. Now, this was a very small test, absolutely, but it was somebody who uses the AO scan, and she uses it with her clients. So she thought, gosh, we had heard someone say it. I don't know who said it. Okay, so but I'm just quoting, paraphrasing, that 21 days of doing the inner voice consistently is equal to about 10 years of talk therapy. Now, that is not a downing talk therapy or saying we shouldn't do that, but it is a kind of mind-blowing statement. So she decided to just test and see what would happen if a bunch of us did it for 21 days. And she had people fill out a form so that here's where you are before and here's where you are after. And it's really good because it also helps you check in emotionally. What am I feeling? As I think so many of us, we're just so busy, we're out there, we're crazy, but we never really stop to go inside. So there is something about that as well. But this is what she found, that after the 3 weeks, 70.4% said they had an overall improvement in depression. 52.7% decrease in physical pain. That's amazing to me. 66.7% decreased anxiety, and 47.5% better sleep. So over half of the people had overall improvement in 3 weeks. Now, granted, I know it's not a big study, but it goes along with my own personal experience, Carey's personal experience, just amazing. And I do want to say one other thing that we just heard. There was a lady who's now doing the 21 days, and after she's an emotion coach and a body code coach, emotion code coach and a body coach. So she's very familiar with how to work with emotions and work with the body and do muscle testing. So after she listened to one time, she did some muscle testing and she found that she released 5 emotions. I mean, in one session, that's just breathtaking to me. So if you would like to do it, you actually have 2 different choices. So the one choice is, if you want to do the inner voice challenge with me, it's 21 days. They start every Monday. So right now it's Saturday. If you're listening to this, we would start Monday. If it's next Friday, we'll start Monday. Just let me know. There'll be a link here, and it's $197. And when you get it, you'll get a little registration. So I'll have your email, etc., with information. What will you do? You will simply send me a voicemail every day between the hours of 7 and 9 in the morning, whatever that is your time. When you send me a voicemail, I take that voicemail and I play it in my AO scan for you, for your inner voice. And then I email to you your reports and your harmonics. So you'll get it each day for you to listen to anytime. Okay, that's for $197. Or the other choice is, you can, for $149, it's $149 a month. That's how much this software is. And you can have that software yourself, where you have all of the software, the complete software with the vitals, with comprehensive, with the SEFIs and everything, for $149. And then you can run it yourself. And all you do is the same thing. Open it up in the morning, hit inner voice, you say your I am and your name, and you get all that information. And by the way, there's also tons of information and training available for free when you get that. So all you need to decide is which one is best for you to experience it. So after this, because you did register for this Zoom, I'm going to go ahead and send you this recording along with the links. I can also put those, I won't even bother putting them in the chat. Nobody's going to see it on the recording, so I'll just have it separate for you. And of course, if you have any questions or just want your own demo of one, just let me know and we can always arrange to have that done as well. So thanks so much for listening. Carey, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Anything else that you'd like to say as we end this?
just that I'm deeply grateful and incredibly hopeful, uh, and can't wait to share this with my daughter, who's a massage therapist, and her friends, because I see so many applications for chiropractors and massage therapists
No kidding.
and people who work with uh, with with therapists, for crying out loud, um, because it's something we can do ourselves. We don't need to go spend a gajillion dollars on any equipment. And I found the support from the company to be really good.
Yes,
And the explanations, the explanatory videos to be very good.
yes.
And I love the freedom of being able to do it whenever I want to. So there you have it.
Absolutely, thank you. And the software is, you can use it on any device that you have an internet connection to, which is just, as she said, you have that control, which is beautiful. The last thing that I do want to mention is that when you saw that my face was up there, that's a profile. You can put in as many profiles in your software system as you want. You can put it on all your family, your friends, your clients. You have dogs. You can put it on dogs and cats. You can do spaces if you want to clear your house. I'm selling a house right now. I have the house up there. And how fun is that? We're clearing it and we're giving it success and motivation. So all that is there as well. Go ahead, Carey, did you want to say something?
Oh, the last thing I was going to say, and then it flew out of my head, but it'll come back. But I know that in this time when we're still relatively isolated and getting to the doctor is tough. I know this is not about diagnostics, but it is empowering. And there are two energy frequencies in here that are about COVID. So that's very interesting to me, that there are some flu and COVID and things that you can pick out and help yourself feel as if you are taking some action.
Beautiful. You're so right. Thank you so much. And thanks all for watching. And you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Thanks. So I'm going to stop the recording.
Hello.